Thank you for being transparent about that. I've been waiting for so long to make a transparency. To the head of the transparency committee. Glad you appreciate it.
Don't you not like that word?
What?
Don't you not like that word?
I like it in certain applications. Excuse me?
It is. Next Friday.
I'm almost done.
I know who it is. I think she's gonna do really good. Yeah, but I'm just saying that I never heard it. She's so fun.
She's so cute.
Oh, hey. How are you? Good evening, everyone. Welcome to General Assembly. Can you please take attendance?
Representative Ateshelu. Representative Bagat.
President voting.
Representative Crawley. Representative Haas. Okay. Representative Heyman. Representative Hamilton.
President voting.
Representative Hollabaugh. Representative Kawashima. Representative Matthews. Representative Moser. Representative Pandat. Representative Pujara. Representative Perlosky. Representative Shim. Representative Baisley. President voting. Representative Bell.
President voting.
Representative Downey.
President voting.
Representative Hoffman. Representative Lupton. Representative McCachran.
President voting.
Representative Williams.
President voting.
Representative Zoltan. Representative Brubaker.
President voting.
Representative Sagawa.
Here. President voting.
Representative Taylor.
President voting.
Representative In.
President voting.
Representative Fernandez.
President voting.
Representative Sadina. Sorry. Representative Asaf. Representative Ganaseka.
President voting.
Representative Moeller.
President voting.
Representative Rendencic.
President voting.
Representative Breckenfelder. Representative Ianniti.
President voting.
Representative Zhang.
President voting.
Representative Irick.
President voting.
Representative Lux.
President voting.
Representative Tyken.
President voting.
Sorry. Treasurer Shaw.
Present.
Speaker Douglas.
Present.
Parliamentarian Agarwal.
Present.
Vice President Nguyen.
President.
Vice President Thompson.
President voting.
Vice President Sanford.
President voting.
Vice President Wang.
Present.
Vice President Weber.
President voting.
President Pinder.
President voting.
Representative Brown.
Are there any guests with us tonight? Could you stand and introduce yourself, please?
I'm Shannon Armstrong from Aerospace Engineering.
Okay, welcome. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
President Pinder, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I hope everybody had an enjoyable weekend. But first, let's please all give a round of applause to Vice President Weber and the Finance Committee. They put in so much time over the weekend, it's not even funny going through all the student group funding requests. So please, when you see Vice President Weber, pat him on the back, tell him you care about him because he put in a lot of work for USG. Also, special thanks to Parliamentarian Emeritus Matt Gardner. He also spent a lot of time in the office. So he also put in a lot of work. So special thanks to him. Just to kind of talk about, just to highlight one thing, tomorrow is the Strategic Leadership Planning Committee, planning retreat. I probably said that in the wrong order. But it's basically a chance for all the kind of stakeholders within the university to come together, talk about their goals for the next year. So I'll be presenting on undergraduate priorities for next year tomorrow. So I'll be at an all-day retreat from like 8 to 5. I get to skip class, but it won't be that fun, okay? So also do want to acknowledge that we do have Dr. Eleanor Davidson with us. She is the Director of Health Services. So she'll kind of be talking to us about the kind of health things that the university is doing in regards to H1N1 and things of that nature. So in the interest of her schedule, could we move her up after committee reports?
Sure.
And it doesn't look like Representative Shim is here. So unless he shows up, we won't be doing swearing in of the new representatives. Okay? I'm gonna put the points. Thanks.
Thank you, Vice President Nguyen.
Okay, so last week the Student Life Committee met. We reevaluated our goals, refreshed some of our initiatives, and kind of checked in with our current initiatives to see how we were with our progress. Other than that, a couple of things to be on the lookout for. There will be a case cash option open to students at the Botanical Garden Cafe. Look for that in the near future. It's being worked on right now with Bon Appetit. In other news, the Faculty Senate, or the FSCUE, new former UUF committee, has created a student life committee at a faculty level. I am in charge of kind of recommending 3 undergraduate students to represent for this committee. It is a very small committee, so it is actually something very, very prestigious to have just 3 students on there that are only undergraduates. There aren't any graduate students at all. So I am going to open this up during open forum, and we'll be asking for your recommendations. I'm looking for students who would represent a wide range of interests, so just keep that in mind when I do open this up during open forum. Lastly, a huge thank you to those who have helped me with the lighting tours. Actually, can we have those people who did help me with the lighting tours please stand up? A lot of people from my committee. You know who you are. Can we please give them a round of applause? Thank you guys so much. You guys did not know, but from just those 2 nights, we found over 27 different malfunctioning safety issues, and we've made these requests to security and police so that, any day they'll get fixed, and hopefully that'll be better for the campus. So with everybody who stood up, thank you so much. With that, I'm open to points. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Nguyen. Vice President Weber, tell us about your weekend.
So I just want to bring everybody up to speed on what happened this weekend. So Finance Committee successfully made allocations, and I'll be getting the final numbers to you guys soon. But beyond that, I want to recognize the people who put so much time in this weekend. Emily Breckenfelder helped during the week when she knew she couldn't help out on Mass Funding Day. The committee was there from like 9 to 5, which is a huge commitment. Kevin, Jaywan, Keith, Pocky, Peggy, Emily Huffman, and Dennis all did a great job. I want to thank the at-large reps who are on my committee who aren't here tonight, but Sean, Gareth, and Krishna also were very valuable. Jazel was there for such a long time. I want to thank Jaylon and Faith, who didn't have to be there, but really volunteered and helped out a ton. And then also, as President Pinder mentioned, Matthew Gardner put in more time this weekend than most reps put in a semester. So it was really a team effort, and I'm glad to say that we're where we need to be in the timeline of things. Next week, hopefully, we'll have a budget for next semester for you guys to review. So just, I'm open to points.
Do you know officially what the total amount of money requested was?
$331,000.
Thank you, Vice President
Thanks.
Weber. Treasurer Shaw.
Hi everyone. So yeah, mass funding was extremely productive. I'm so proud of VPX Weber and the rest of the Finance Committee. So here's a quick tip of the week. When the time comes, go to mass funding. It's really not that bad. So I looked at my files for all the group allocations, and this semester so far the total disbursements were about $52,908.28. This includes the USG money that was allocated and the money asked from the balances of the individual student groups. The groups that only got dispersed from their balance were given a total of $15,952. And then the leftover, which was $36,955, was from the USG allocations. Last year, during mass funding, we had allocated a total of $99,860, and then after appeals, it went up to $123,981. So when Max said that we allocated, how much was that? 300.
How much was requested?
Right, that was how much was requested. It was, that's not as much as what was requested last year, but that's still, it's good. Also, stay tuned for USG Fun and Nord. I would like to hold that either on the Thursday or Friday, the week before Thanksgiving or after Thanksgiving. I would like to send out an email asking everyone when would be good for them. That way we can get as many people as possible. So I will be sending out an email for that soon, and I'll explain more on the next board report. Thank you.
Thank you, Treasurer Shaw. Vice President Wayne.
Hi, I hope everyone had a good weekend. I feel that everything is in my board report, so I won't talk about it anything further. If you have any questions about specific issues such as advising, SAGES, or study abroad, feel free to ask. So I'm open to points.
Thank you, Vice President Wayne. Vice President Sanford.
Okay, so I have no actual report, but I would like to yield the rest of my time to Representative Bagat to tell you more about the video, and I am open to points.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, the video is going to be getting underway. Most likely, filming will begin November 21st, so 2 Saturdays away from now. If you can't make it, I'll be passing around surveys, so just put your name, your email, and what alternate date works for you, because I'm going to try to do my best to get everyone in the video. And so far, I also have the engineering committee saying that they're going to wear Spartan blue. Nursing caucus will be wearing the scrubs. Let's see, and freshmen will be wearing purple. Exec apparently is wearing red. And I still need to hear back from Arts and Sciences, but from what I understand, they're meeting tonight. And as well as the Weatherhead caucus, I need to hear back from you guys on what color you guys are going to be wearing in the video. Any questions?
President Pinder.
Can I make a recommendation for the Weather Caucus to show up in businesses?
Thank you. Green has also been suggested as well, because green is the color of money. But I mean, I'm just saying. Yeah.
Any questions for Representative Bagat? Thank you. Vice President Thompson.
I just have a follow-up from last week. The walk-in centers will indeed install Windows 7 or Snow Leopard for you. But when Windows 7 comes out, they expect to have a long line. So if you turn it in, it might be a while before you get your computer back. You might want to take that into account. I'm open to points.
What is the progress on the ASL?
I'll have to look into that.
Any other questions? Thank you, Vice President Thompson. Could you please turn our attention to our guest speaker, Dr. Davidson. The podium is yours.
Thank you, President Pinder, and I'm honored to be invited. I must say, I don't think I did enough USG when I was a student in college, but I do recollect that the president of USG is the current Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton. So perhaps you have a great future ahead of you. It's sort of funny to have that memory. President Pinder asked me to talk a little bit about H1N1, the preparations, and what's gone on campus. So if you recall, it was only last spring, last April, and early May that in Mexico first, and then in California and Texas, there became reports of a new influenza virus that was making many people ill, and in Mexico causing a great deal of deaths. The Case campus did not experience any cases of H1 influenza before the end of last academic year. We did, however, have a number of cases beginning in mid-June. The first case on campus was in a graduate student who'd been to Manhattan to meet some friends and go sightseeing. He got ill while he was in Manhattan and came back to Cleveland and sought help here for his illness. He ended up briefly in the hospital overnight because of his asthma, but did fine, and then proceeded to transmit the infection to 3 of his apartment contacts. We had some experience because of that, of treating both household contacts and contacts in the workplace, because all of those were graduate students who had jobs on campus. None of the people in workplace contacts ever got infections with the H1N1, no matter how closely they were working, actually. The next case was, the next little cluster of cases was approximately 2 weeks later in some undergraduates who were here on campus for the summer in one of the special programs. There were 3 cases at that time. And up until the beginning of the school year, August 20th and 21st, we had approximately a dozen cases that were identified. As you probably know, we had those 2 cases, August 20th and 21st, that were new international students who came with the illness. And then we proceeded for the next period of time from August 21st till October 5th with no cases of documented H1N1, despite doing seeing many people with respiratory illness and doing many nasal swabs for H1N1. So we work with the health department, both the city health department, the county health department, and Ohio Department of Health, to report weekly our statistics of influenza-like illness. So we participate in CDC's surveillance program. So we do that as a matter of routine, and saw no H1N1. Starting October 5th, we began to see a great deal of illness all of a sudden, particularly in undergraduates. So we saw it in Alumni House first, and also one of the fraternities. Quite quickly over the next week or so, moving to the Village and many different locations on campus, so that prior to fall break, we had seen quite a number of cases. To date, we have seen 41 confirmed cases, but we don't continue to confirm cases once we have an established pattern of infection, so we recognize what the clinical illness is, and when people have known contacts. So we still confirm cases for particular reasons, both medically and if it's useful to people on campus. So for example, 3 days ago, we had a new member of a fraternity where we hadn't seen cases. We thought that was a new case because that's such a close household. We went ahead and documented that, and we've subsequently seen more cases from that place. everyone's done well. The illness lasted approximately 3 days for having a fever and not feeling well at all. And then people actually have gotten better fairly quickly from the illness. As you know, we followed CDC guidelines and gave out seasonal flu vaccines this year in September, which was very early. The university offered to pay for both seasonal and H1N1 vaccine. So we gave approximately 2,750 doses of the seasonal vaccine in September. And then we just completed actually almost exactly the same number of H1N1 nasal vaccine. That's all we've received from the health department thus far. If we get the injectable vaccine, we will also make that available. What is your phrase, points? I'm open to points.
Are there any questions for Dr. Davidson? Representative Hamilton?
What's the likelihood that you get the injectable formula?
So he asked, what's the likelihood we're going to get the injectable? I actually am following Thomas Frieden, the current head of CDC, and watched the testimony in the Congress within the past week. And his answer to that question is, we don't know how much is going to be available, and they're only predicting from week to week what's going to be available with their access to information. There's been a little bit available in Cuyahoga County, but not much, and there are places where pregnant women can get it. We have a list in the health service now for people. So the people, particularly students who would need to get it, are those students who have asthma, diabetes, or other medical conditions that would not allow them to get the nasal vaccine. As soon as we get it, we'll make it available.
Any
Yeah.
additional?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, and then Bob.
I had a question. I had H1N1, and when I went in, they said, well, probably. They said they didn't test me to confirm because of cost reasons, not because of medical reasons. And I was even like the first one in my sorority house to get it.
Well, it sort of depends on how characteristic the illness is. So there's no cut and dried rules about testing or not testing. I won't ask for hands of anyone who's had the test. People don't like it. It's a swab that goes in the nose all the way back to the back of the throat and comes back out again. Nobody signs up for it twice, but if there are particular reasons to get it done, we go ahead and do it. So what would the reasons be? CDC decided approximately late August that we were not to prescribe Tamiflu, the antiviral medication, except for people in the high-risk group, so except for people with asthma, diabetes, things like that. So we weren't then using it to decide whether or not we would treat an individual, and then sometimes it depended on whether or not the clinical illness was characteristic. So when you came in, or when people came into us with a fever of 101, 102 and chills, and it was clear that that was what it was, we didn't go ahead and test people. It's not only cost, it's a matter of resources in general, so that if we continued to test people, the lab would be doing, you know, it would be, yes, there's 100 cases, yes, there's 1,000 cases, yes, there are 10,000. And actually, interestingly enough, in May in New York City, Columbia, Barnard, and NYU had many, many cases, but the health department didn't allow them to test at that point in time. So it depends what test is available, what's the purpose of testing, et cetera.
Representative Perlowski?
In the case of students who need deans-approved excuses to miss class or exams, are they allowed to request the test so they do have validation of their illness?
Well, that's a big question. As you may or may not know, we have been, again, following CDC guidelines and speaking to the faculty and to the administration to say, CDC advises that people not go to their healthcare facility for the purpose of documentation of illness. That's because we've been seeing probably twice as many students as we normally would see and struggling to keep up with the volume of cases, so that if in addition to that we needed to accommodate people for the sole purpose of documenting an illness for faculty, it really would not be a best utilization of our healthcare, your healthcare resources. So we worked with Jeff Wilkowitz in undergraduate studies to put out a memo to the faculty saying that we would not be able to document illness for that purpose. And on the other end of it, we have no way really of documenting when a student would be eligible to go back to class. So following CDC guidelines, you can only go back when you've not had a fever for 24 hours. And I wondered sort of how we would operationalize that. Would I put nurses in the residence hall documenting temperatures of students so that I could verify they would be okay to go back? It didn't seem to make any sense to me. So that following CDC guidelines, we went to the faculty and asked that that not be a requirement for students, that we would not be documenting illness.
Representative Begat?
Just out of curiosity, do you know if the epidemic is starting to die down, or if it's getting stronger, or if the deficits of H1N1 either in the U.S. or globally?
I've only heard, I can tell you actually for us on campus, the illness last Thursday afternoon, we began to see less of it. So we report weekly what percentage of our visits are for influenza-like illness. And we reached a peak of 15%, which was higher than any other sentinel clinic in the state. And after that, we went back down to about 8% the next week. So we are still seeing infection transmission, but not at the rate we were seeing it around the period of fall break. I have anecdotally heard that other places similarly, and classically in influenzas, what you do is get a period of approximately 6 weeks when you get a lot of activity, and then it's quieter for a period of time, and then it would come back for a period like that. But as you know, in the United States, at the beginning of the school semester, the two places in the country where colleges and universities reported the most activity were in the southeast, so Atlanta, Florida, and also then in Oregon and Washington. And then we caught up a little bit later, and I think there are some other places like that. So I'm not sure we know that yet. I think it also depends what age range you're talking about, and I think the transmission in younger people is still quite sustained.
Senator Hoffman?
The memo that you sent out or collaborated with the dean, was that done before midterms week or after?
I believe I'd have to look at the date on it, but I actually think it was before midterms.
Oh, really?
And so midterms really had nothing to do with it. They thought initially that the activity or that the rate of our seeing patients had something to do with the fact that there was midterms. And we had to go to them and say, no, it actually has nothing to do with that. It's really just the natural history of the viral infection that we're currently seeing. So it did tend to it did have that confluence with midterms, but so I believe they issued it prior to midterms. But I think that I don't think that from a government or a legislative or a governing body, I don't think he can tell the faculty what they do. He can make recommendations to the faculty. And one of the upsetting things was, of course, that the rules were changing in midstream. So the faculty was saying, well, gee, you can't change the rules now. And we said, we're sorry, but the illness has really changed the scape of what we're seeing, what we're doing. We felt it was necessary.
As a student and personally, what I had to get excused from a midterm, and my professor said he wanted written proof from a doctor, and Health Services was saying, no, we don't do that, and I'm trying to figure out these changing rules when I had 103 fever.
Right.
And it was like one of the worst experiences.
I agree with you. And we thought not only was it a bad use of resources for us, we didn't feel it was reasonable to ask a student to get out of bed to come to the health service to document the illness. In fact, one of the ways we knew if you were really sick with H1N1 was if you made an appointment at 2 a.m. to come see us for H1N1, but that by noon you couldn't make it down the hill to the health service, that was a classic presentation of H1N1. You know, you were too sick in bed for a couple of days. Another reason why documenting the illness during the period of fever doesn't really make sense.
Representative Perlowski.
Could you also comment on the H1N1 vaccine? I've heard a lot of rumors that it's, because it's so new and it was pushed through so quickly, that it's not approved by the FDA as of right now.
I don't believe that's true. I would have to check that. And so there are two vaccines. There's a nasal vaccine, and the nasal H1N1 is very similar to there's always been or not always, but in the past 10 years, there's been a nasal seasonal flu vaccine. Both of those are live attenuated or weakened vaccine. They've been used all the time, and so that technology has been around. I think there's a sort of a misperception that anything new was going on. They were still using the exact same technology with both that vaccine and then the injectable, so that both of them were technologies that had been used for a long time. What happened, the only thing that's new about this particular strain, which affects the answer to how much injectable is available, is that it's still an egg-based technology, which means you grow a seed lot of the virus and then you put it in chicken eggs and grow up the virus in order to make the vaccine. And what they've been having trouble with is simply with this particular virus growing it up in eggs, and they're not getting the yields they thought they would get. But it's a similar vaccine technology to both kinds of seasonal flu vaccine we've always had. So we don't, and actually, you know, why don't we typically use the nasal vaccine when we do seasonal? It costs more, and you have to use different ones based on risk factors, whereas with the injectables, we can give it to everyone. So it's simpler for most people to understand if we just use one. It's been confusing with with all the different vaccines available, actually, I think.
Dr. Davidson, thank you so much for your time and coming to speak with us. Now move into caucus reports. Representative Downey from the Engineering Caucus.
I'd like to start off by saying we first have some good news. We've been in contact with Dr. Abramson, who is the speaker for the Engineering Core Curriculum Review Committee, and they've actually allowed us to have a student on that committee. And that committee actually looks at the engineering core classes, whether they need to drop some, add some, or just allow a little more flexibility. And so we're in the process of selecting one of the engineering caucus members to be on that committee, and they'll report back to us on what goes on with that. We are meeting next week with Dean Tien to meet about some issues in the engineering school and hear his thoughts on the future of School of Engineering. I'm open to points.
President Pinder?
Was it hot chocolate?
It was delicious. You should have had some.
Thank you. Thank you, Representative Downey. From the Arts and Science Caucus, Representative Ateshalu.
We'll be having a meeting this afternoon or this evening after General Assembly, so please meet downstairs in one of the rooms on either side of the staircase. Don't know which one. We'll be discussing and reflecting on Spirit Fest events as well as Alumni Weekend, and also hopefully discussing the possibility of getting foam fingers to be handing out to constituents. The Dean's Office is willing to provide $96.99 towards it. So we'll be trying to discuss that. Open to points.
Representative Lupton.
Just out of curiosity, how much is
It depends on how fast you want them. For 14 business days, it's $139 per foam finger, or for 8 business days, it's $179. And we'd buy them in at 100.
Thank you. From the Nursing Caucus, Representative Irick.
We had a meeting this week with the Director of Alumni Relations from the Francis Payne Bolton School. We're having an alumni tea on December 4th at the Alumni House, and we're going to send out invitations this week, so we're really excited about that. We've been researching the Smoke-Free Initiative, so if anyone wants to help out with that, let us know. And we ordered 200 cupcakes for cupcake compliments on November 23rd and 24th. So I'm open to points.
Thank you, Representative Irick. Representative Zhang from the Weatherhead School. Do you have a report? Do you have a report? Okay, thank you. From the First Year Caucus, Representative Asaf. No report? Thank you. Now welcome Trevor Allen from the Student Sustainability Council.
One word,
Oh, excuse me. Mr. Allen, thank you for waiting for one moment. President Pinder. Representative Shin, could you come front and center, please?
All right. Can you please raise your right hand? I state your name in full.
I, William Shin,
Do solemnly swear, as a representative of the USG,
representative of the USG,
to responsibly represent my constituency
to responsibly represent my constituency
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I promise to faithfully uphold the Constitution
I promise to faithfully uphold the Constitution
and all appropriate bylaws of the USG.
and all appropriate bylaws of the USG.
As an elected representative to the USG,
As elected representative to the USG,
I further pledge to serve the students. I further pledge to serve the students
I further pledge to serve the students
of Case Western Reserve University
of the Case Western Reserve University
with integrity and honesty.
with integrity and honesty.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Now we will welcome Trevor Allen to the podium, please, to give an update on the Student Sustainability Council.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here, as Speaker Douglas said, to on behalf of your friendly Student Sustainability Council, and I've got 3 points. First off, it is a season for finalities. One of our projects from last year is finally nearing a close. The common reading for summer of 2010, so for the class next year, is nearing decision. It's a private process, so I can't give details, but one of our selections, we formed a subcommittee to choose and recommend and support sustainability and environment-related books. One of our selections did make it into the final few, and the final decision is kind of they're ranked, and it's pending author availability, essentially. Also finishing up, our largest project is finally coming to close this weekend, and I'll give more details in announcements, but essentially it is the awesomeness of Eco Party, which hopefully you guys saw the wall. And we have 3 major goals for this. First of all is awareness in general. There's a bunch of informational stuff going to be at the fair, educational kind of things, and the main focus of that is to get everybody out of their dorms and get onto a central place and kind of deal with the vampire power issue, unplug, turn off your lights, do all that stuff. Secondly is also to promote create the association that, doing green things and environmental things and thinking about that stuff can be fun. I'll give you details on that in the announcements as how it's fun. And also, we're going to be taking we're raising funds for an awesome local group, the Earth Day Coalition, which does projects with school children in Cleveland area and with poor neighborhoods in children area, all while focusing on being environmentally responsible. It's a pretty good group. And finally, it's also kind of a season of beginnings. Next week, we are going to begin the process of planning and how we're going to implement all that stuff for Recyclemania for 2010. Because I know all of you were ecstatic last year, our first ever Recyclemania. And we are going to participate again, and it's going to be even awesomer. So that's a big process in itself. So we're excited for that. We're going to get a head start on it now. I am open to any points, questions, comments.
Questions for Mr. Allen?
We were in 2 categories. First was waste minimization, and second was recycling per capita, which they kind of go against each other. When minimization includes reducing waste in general, trash and recycling. So use less and recycle the rest, I think is the way to phrase it. And then secondly is the recycling per capita, so you want to recycle a lot, but not you can avoid it. Essentially, we did well. We've had a hard time contacting the organizers of Cyclemania because I think it's kind of a seasonal thing. So we don't actually know where we were in the final standings, but in the last couple weeks, we were up there. We are going to include that in the part of the PR effort for this next coming one. So, but we're also going to be, again, in the waste minimization category. That's a requirement of the University President's Climate Commitment, which President Snyder signed on to.
Any other questions for Mr. Allen? Representative Lupton?
Just out of curiosity, how many people serve in your committee or the sustainability committee, and what do you guys meet?
We've had consistently 10 to 15 people in attendance, and Wednesdays at 8. And Twing is meeting room A or B. It changes from week to week, but they're right next to each other. So, yeah. And we send all that out on our minutes. We have a list. If anyone wants to be on that, you can sign that up at list.case.edu, case SSC list. It's also on our website, and find it there or ask me personally. But yeah, everyone's welcome to our meetings. We love any involvement or input anyone wants to give, and any ideas and help, anything.
Colleen?
Trevor, I just want to congratulate you today. I think you made a huge impact with the commission, and I really appreciate what you're doing. And I'd love to be on the list.
I can do that. Thank you very much. It's very kind. And honestly, so much of the credit, the vast majority of it goes to the people on our group. They have done great work pulling through and making these things come a reality. Because I'm sure, as all of you have good experience with, an idea is really great, and you go forward, and there's always more things than you originally thought there would be, and it always turns out to be more of an effort than you thought. But thank you very much. We appreciate it, and we hope to continue the trend and improve it.
Other questions for Mr. Allen?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Parliamentarian Agrawal, your tip of the week.
Hi everyone. Tip of the week is rather self-explanatory. You may say any of the motions listed in the agenda out loud, and Speaker Douglas will recognize you immediately. So take advantage of that. And if there are any questions. All set?
Thank you, Parliamentarian Agrawal. We will open new business. Nominations are still open for 2 vacancies in the College of Engineering. Are there any nominations tonight for engineering representative? Representative Lupton. Okay. Any additional nominations? Representative McEachran?
Chelsea Ducha.
Yes.
Shannon Armstrong.
Any additional nominations? Is there- Get that? Okay. Those nominations will remain open for those candidates to be contacted to accept their candidacy, and we will vote on both of those vacancies next week in General Assembly. Is there any additional old business? Seeing none, we will open new business. Is there any new business? President Pinder.
I move to introduce Resolution R 19-06.
Okay, is there a speaker in the pro? Vice President Nguyen?
Okay, it's a pretty big resolution, so I'll just say it real quick in summary. Basically, this resolution is in conjunction to a previous resolution we've done with asking the kind of safety concerns that students have with the Euclid-Adelbert crosswalk. The current one asked to kind of include a second crosswalk. This one specifically is asking so that we could expand the crosswalk even more. As it stands, there is a flower bed, I guess you can call it, with the University Hospital sign that is kind of impeding on space in that area. And as it stands, when students are crossing during peak times, there are certain incidences where people will be standing on the street, and we're just afraid that in the case of snow or ice or sleet or hail, this could be a safety issue. This resolution asks for the university to consider pushing that corner back, that flower bed back, so then there'd be more room for students to stand. That's about it. I am open to points.
Are there any questions for the speaker? Thank you, Vice President Nguyen.
Thank you.
Is there a speaker in the con? Seeing none, we'll open discussion for 5 minutes. Are there any points for discussion? Representative Downey?
I guess a lot of times you see students, like, there might be space on the corner, but they still kind of stand really close to the edge, and then people just kind of pile up there. Is there any kind of like indicators or anything like caution, like stay back from this line, or something like that?
Well, as it stands, we have security, we have a police mark up there,
Right.
you know, he is standing there, he is telling the people to move. Oftentimes, because people are blocking that corner, so that there may be space on the other side, but people just don't want to walk through those people and everything there, so that might be why they're standing there. I'm not sure what the reasons are, it's personal, I guess, but, we do have somebody there kind of telling people to get off the street, so it's nice that, you know, it's not known that it's not safe for you to stand in the street.
Representative Mueller?
I have a suggestion actually for in addition to this. This is a crosswalk that I cross every day. It's at Ford and Bellflower, and it seems every time I walk up there, the light changes, but there's no pedestrian like cross lights there, so I never like know when it's going to change. Could we recommend that we get something like that installed where there's like a countdown like we have?
Yeah, I'd be willing to look into that.
Representative Bell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just.
Please use your microphone.
Sorry. The flower bed thing, is that city property or is that like property of whatever's there?
It's our property.
It's our property. I was just.
And then we have to work with the city portion or the
Yeah.
sidewalk.
I was gonna say, because if that wasn't our property, that might be,
Right.
if that, yeah.
Any additional questions for discussion? Representative Hamilton?
Move to amend.
Okay.
The fourth be it resolved clause, letter I, there's a period between the period and interim. I move to strike that from the resolution.
Vice President Nguyen, is that friendly? Thank you.
Thank you.
Any
other points for discussion? President Pinder.
Okay, I have a series of amendments. That's pretty simple. So I move to amend, be resolved, clause 4, point H, to move Richard Jameson before Vice President for Campus Services, and it'd be a comma just for consistency. And then the same amendment for IJK. Okay.
Excellent. Are there any other points for discussion? Please note that this resolution is slated to be sent to the mayor of Cleveland, so I hope everyone is very, very much in support of it. Representative Bagat?
Move to previous question.
Okay, all in favor, please signify by raising your hand. And all opposed? Thank you. We will now vote on the on the resolution as stated. So all in favor of passing resolution R 19-06, please signify by raising your hand. Nice and high. Okay, thank you. All opposed? Any abstentions? Excellent, the resolution passes. Love it. Is there any additional new business? Seeing none, we'll move into open forum. Points for discussion in open forum. Representative Lupton.
Just have a question to Mitch real quick. I know we talked about a couple of mornings ago about the Case One card being used for alcohol / gift card usage. Do you have any announcements on that? Because I do know that the
Representative Bagat?
Celsius, Vice President. I was wondering, is there any way to open up the Village Board gym to all students? Because currently it's only for those who live on campus. That's what it says on the door, but I can't scan it to get it. And I know other people who live off campus who can't scan it to get there either.
Okay. Representative Lupton?
Yeah, I have just something of concern to some people. Not going to mention names, not myself. But anyway, here's the issue. I guess Village House 7. I know all of the village houses in that regard have common rooms, common space you can rent out for meetings and such. And there's numerous occasions. I guess there's religious groups in these common areas that are actually spreading out to do small group sessions away from the actual common area, and students have to walk through some of those sessions. They're not really hurting anybody, and it just makes some people feel awkward. So I'd like to hear USG's opinion on what you would do.
Representative Downey?
I was just curious, could you have you spoken with them about this more than once? The reason I ask is, would they be willing to come in and talk to us about like a little more clarification on this? Yeah, I actually have, because there was two people that brought it to my attention that both felt the same way. When I went back to them and said, hey, you want to come in and speak? They were like, well, I look like a jerk, So those two people just said, please bring it up for discussion, and it does offend them because they have to walk through that no matter which way to get to their dorm. They have to walk by these small group prayers, and if they're not the same religion, they feel very uncomfortable. So maybe we could. I have no idea.
Representative Irick?
I know that I live in House 7, and we walk back from clinicals. We come through the garage, and we actually have to there's so many people that we have to weed through the small group prayers. And I know that's really awkward, but there's no way else to get to the staircase. And I haven't considered about it, but I know it's been brought up in my suite too.
Representative Nguyen?
For my RHA liaisons, would be something really great to bring back to RHA to talk to them about the rest of the hall.
Excellent.
I think that's my strategy.
Representative Crawley?
Would it be possible for us to put a limit on how many people could be in those that could rent out a limit of 50 members of your organization, so it can't get that big, or they have to rent a larger space?
Representative Baisley?
Maybe one solution, because I don't know if you can limit, because even if there's 15 people, if they break out near the staircase, they're still going to be there, even if there's a small group. So maybe defining somewhere within RHA, you guys can talk about defining what constitutes the actual room, and I don't know how you do that, but specify that it doesn't include the staircases, it doesn't include hallways, and specify it's actually the center of the room, maybe, I don't know.
Representative Downey?
Well, a couple things. First off, I think this could be pretty easy to solve. You just talk to the group. Did you ask the two people just for the name of the group, whoever it is, just so we know who to talk to? And I guess the other thing is just to talk with them. And I think this actually falls under finance, because we usually moderate with different groups about this. So we can pass this off to finance to talk to them about it and see if we come to a resolution with this without going to more formal measures first.
Vice President Nguyen?
I would like to change the topic. I mentioned during my board report that I would, during open forum, open up nominations for the 3 undergraduate student representatives for the FSCUE Student Life Committee. Again, I'm looking for people who would be of a range of interest and representation on this board. There are only 3 spots. Hoping one of them would be from USG, but the other 2 I'm looking for kind of Jack and Jill all 3. So I would like your suggestions now, Patty.
Nominations for the FSCU Committee on Student Life. Representative Sagawa?
I'm sorry, what does FSCUE stand for again?
It is the new undergraduate, universe undergraduate faculty committee. It's kind of like the faculty senate, but on curriculum and
It stands for Faculty Senate Committee on Undergraduate Education.
Does
The faculty senate is to the faculty what USG is to the undergraduate students. It's their governing body. President Pinder?
It's just one clarification for Vice President Nguyen. Are you asking for nominations for just the USG representative or for members, for everybody? For members. Okay, all right.
Representative Bagat?
Just another point of information. When do the meetings take place?
They usually meet once a month. Again, I don't have the schedule because the meetings are, I'm not part of the committee yet, but this is the subcommittee that's only formed, so they don't actually have any meetings as of yet. So when they do happen, they'll keep the conference on.
Are there any nominations for the FISCU Committee on Student Life for Vice President Nguyen? Representative Bagat?
I'll do it.
Any additional nominations? Vice President Thompson?
Nicholas Augustiniak. No. I'll get back.
Any other nominations? Colleen?
I would recommend Angel Flowers from
Okay. Are there any other points for open forum? Vice President Wang?
I'm still looking for members who are interested in serving this youth subcommittee on curriculum and undergraduate education. So while we're on that note, anyone would like to nominate anyone? Yeah, if anyone would like to nominate anyone for this youth subcommittee on curriculum, please tell me. That'd be great.
Any nominations for Vice President Wang? Representative Lupton? Sure.
She's already on the FISCU, actual FISCU committee.
Are there any other nominations? We have a great opportunity to serve on these committees. I hope some of you will consider becoming a part of them. Any other points for open forum? Representative Bagat?
Yeah, last week I came to the USG office. He was complaining about how there's not a lot of good information about where the smoking areas are because he followed the advice from his RA and then he got a ticket or a fine, whatever they get. But he was following exact information that his RA gave, but he still got that thing. He says they need to be clearly identified better. I guess, I mean, I told him to put, he's gonna either email me or put it up on the discussion board of the USG fan page, so.
Representative Downey?
Two things. One, I actually talked to a couple random people that were smoking because I was just kind of curious about their input about the different smoking places that we've talked about before. And it was funny because they said that the one on the other side of the Greek village, unless the Greeks specifically requested it, it was not needed. They said the leads on that side of the campus were met. However, the ones in the quad would be nice. And I told them the positions and everything, and they like that. The other thing I had for open forum was, is there any work being done to improve the search engine in case? Because right now it's horrible. I mean, you can go to Google, like the actual Google, and you can search better than if you could cases.
I can answer this, or President Pinder?
This falls under Jerry Hamilton's Committee on Transparency. So this is something that they're going to be addressing.
It's not transparency, it's for IT.
Well, it's more just information availability, which is what they're kind of looking at.
To address it specifically, because it comes out of the department that I work for, what we use is a co-branded Google search, meaning it's essentially a Google search only of our site. Because CASE's website is so complicated, because there are so many, the pages are so prolific, and also because we actually have two domains, case.edu and cwru.edu, it makes it a difficult process, and there's really, short of slimming down the the actual website that we have, like getting rid of pages, there's really no way to make the results any better. We can't do search engine optimization ourselves. And also to put it in perspective, there's currently 2 web designers for the entire campus and 1 freelance person working with them. So, and they're currently working on revising all of the web pages to the new template, which hasn't been released yet. So, but
I was just curious if they could like do one thing to either like improve the ranking where it puts the actual like sites instead of archive things. So a lot of times you get a lot of archive copies up, and I think that should just be the ranking. I don't know much about programming, so that seems to be a kind of an issue more than anything.
Vice President Thompson.
Just to the general complexity of web search itself, it's an extremely hard programming problem. But how Google ranks pages is the more times a page is linked to, the higher its rank. And so if this old page is still linked from all the other pages, it's going to get a higher ranking. So if departments update their web pages, it should actually improve the search engine. So that would be the best way to improve the search, is for people to update their pages themselves and get rid of old pages.
Any additional points for open forum? Representative Hamilton?
I have like 2 or 3 open spots still on the transparency committee. So if you're willing to do that or know someone that wants to do that, feel free to tell me. Thank you.
Any nominations right now? Representative Hamilton? Vice President Wang?
I'm willing to be on the transparency committee.
All right.
Excellent. Anyone else? Okay. Representative Lupton?
Okay, I'm just actually diving into a different topic real quick.
Sure.
I came in a little bit late. I saw in President Kinder's word report says about the referendum or something about the SEC. I'm just a little bit curious on why that's coming about. I didn't see the Observer article that said it, and what is USG's opinion about this, and why are we pushing that? Are we pushing for that referendum, or maybe we can discuss?
Sure. So, kind of give you some background on what's been happening over SEC. This is a conversation that's been happening for a really long time, and this is kind of the furthest it's gone. To kind of give you the structure of SEC, there's USG, the University Programming Board, Interfraternity Council, I think. Yeah. Congress, I'm sorry. IFC, NL, and Media Board. So they all get a share of the Student Activities Fund, money that you pay in every semester. RHA is a non-voting member. They have a seat at the table because they deal with student concerns, but they don't get any money from the Student Activities fee per se. So what we do is myself and Max serve as representatives of USG. It's the president and the chief financial officer of all those organizations, serve on SEC, and discuss the allocations of the Student Activities fee across the students. So we change allocations from time to time. We talk about how the money is being used. So one of the big questions was the Media Board organization, which oversees like the Athenian, Observer, Case Western Reserve Review, WRW. Similar organizations use the Student Activities fee money to pay stipends or salaries to the people who are in the organizations. A lot of the organizations are kind of, work-based instead of just monetary-based. So, like for the Reserve Review, you're putting in hours, so they pay stipends or salaries for the hours. And it's been an issue with members of SEC why that money that the students are paying in is being paid to other people in the form of salaries. So the question right now that SEC voted on is to bring this to the students, right? Instead of having 10 members, 10 or so members decide on this, we wanted to see what the entire student body feels about this, about the use of salaries in general. So if the student body is okay with their money that they pay every semester being used for salaries, then that's fine. If they're not okay, then the student activities fee money cannot be used for salaries at all for any student organization. So that's the referendum that is being pushed. Myself and Max Weber voted last time that the SEC met, and we voted for the referendum. So we voted in representing USG for the referendum. However, we also voted to push back the referendum to next semester. It was going to be this semester,
Downey.
I know there was USG fun or next weekend or whatever it was, the base was trying to do, but there's also another idea put forth by Representative Lupton for a cornhole tournament. And I'm just curious if there's any interest in that.
I'm in.
I mean, I think it'd be a lot of fun, so I mean, I would love to do something like that. Just curious if
I'm in.
anyone else would.
Are you gonna plan it?
I would love to. I just wanted to know if there's anything.
Representative Moser.
How should I report that the next bus recording thing next to Lot 6 is broken? It's broken for a while.
You just did. Representative Crawley.
This is actually for student life as well. I've been a couple of lights this week. These lights, and last week the lights on the village track have not been on after dark. Do you know if those are always supposed to be on? Because a lot of students are out there working out, and if they're not on, it's not as safe.
After a certain time, the village,
Like, well, now it's, I mean, after dark, when the lights, when you see, they're not on. But,
the like after 6th period at all there.
yeah, like, when it gets dark, the big, lights that light up on the field.
Representative Berlowski.
They, because of it's really, really, really expensive to power those lights, so they only turn them on whenever there's a reservation made on the field. So like, sports practices, club sport practices, that's the only time that they turn them on is when they get requests. Otherwise, it just is astronomical costs. Like, you would never believe how much it costs to power those lights. I can look it up for you. But they don't turn it on unless they have reservations on the field.
Can we see maybe about getting like safety light, like one light out there, like a street light out there, or like a blue light maybe on or around like very close to the field area, so it's a little safer?
Representative Sagawa.
I noticed that every week we have a video, person videotaping our GA meetings, but I know that when I looked them up on YouTube, that this semester's meetings for GA are not up yet. Is this something that will get up there, or is this something that you're working on? I was just curious when our GA meetings will be up on YouTube.
Sure. Media Vision will, in time, put them up onto the Case YouTube channel as last semesters are. I know they are currently hard at work on the annual report video, and there's only so much staff there, and even though James is doing a fantastic job, let's have a round of applause for James. Showing up every week. But they do still have to go back and do some editing work. They can't just throw them onto a website. So I'm happy to look into it and see if we can have some of them on. I know last year the entire semester was uploaded at the end. So, Representative Bagat.
We kind of moved past it, but reopening nominations for the Transparency Ad Hoc Committee.
Do you have one? Or are you just?
We kind of passed it. Yeah, we brought something else.
I don't, was there any additional interest in the Transparency Ad Hoc Committee at this time? Okay. Are there any other points for open forum? Okay. President Gunsicker?
Yeah. I've been noticing there's been a lot of double booking going on in Wade and like the village. I know several organizations last week were double booked, so I was wondering if we could do anything about that.
Vice President Wynn?
Jen Brown is the person who's in charge of those reservations. I had this conversation before with her, so yeah, it's the team.
Okay. President Pinder?
One point. So for the property management apartments, which I happen to live in, why don't packages that are delivered to them go to Wade? Does anybody know that?
I'm gonna kind of guess because I work in Fridley, but Fridley area offices are you're only legally allowed to deliver certain areas of packages. And I believe because those apartments are like not owned the same way, because the mail, it's complicated, but we're not legally allowed to hold a package for you unless you live within the addresses that we have. So I'm not sure why your address isn't one of those, but I know for a fact, like, someone, for instance, changed their address in the system somehow. They're really good computers, and so they were having stuff sent, but they lived
lived in one of those apartments, and they did get like in trouble for sending packages to us. And we will forward them to you if it's like an old address, but we can't legally, because it's not a real post office or something.
Representative Ateshlu?
On the point of double booking, I know a number of the student groups that I'm in have been having issues with the tables in Nord, and I know you're supposed to specifically reserve the tables, but they're, like I noticed today, one of the tables wasn't there, and for example, with Mr. Crew, we weren't able to sell our tickets. When I was trying to sell Spirit Packs, I had to share a table with another group, which isn't supposed to be happening. Should something be done about that?
Vice President Nguyen?
I was gonna add on that. I think a big problem with that is not necessarily the system, it's that people who actually have to improve it don't look at it like on a regular basis. I reserved a table 2 or 3 days in advance for the hot chocolate giveaway for engineering, and I got the approval 2 days before. So I'm not sure if they like look at them as they come, or I don't know what's with that, but I think it's actual like people that are approving it that like breakdown.
Vice President Nguyen?
May I suggest that in order to solve some of these issues, you may contact the person via email, in the same way that you would contact them via, reserving the space, and tell them these issues yourselves.
Representative Downey?
They don't respond back. I've emailed them multiple times.
Representative Pulaski?
So, and having worked to reserve tables before, a lot of the times the problem is that people do like study on a lot of the tables in Nord, and they have a limited number of tables, but they can never really be shown what'll be available. So it's kind of like, even if you do have a table reserved for that day, you still have to show up early enough to stake your claim, because you don't reserve like the third table in on the right side. It's just kind of you are able to reserve a table, but you have to stake it out. So that could be where the problem's coming from.
Any additional points for open forum? Thank you for supporting the long open forum. There's obviously a lot to talk about. I'm glad it was all brought up. Colleen?
So I'm thinking about Dr. Davidson's report, and I'm thinking that, I've done this job for a long time, and I don't think I've ever been more aware of physical health than I ever have been this year. So I guess I want to ask you a couple questions. The first of which is, how many of you get an average of 3 to 5 hours of sleep a night? Raise your hand. Starting at 3 to 5. How many get less than 6 hours of sleep a night, just total? All right, now I have a question for you. Has your wellness been affected, or has your awareness of your health and wellness been positively affected by the H1N1 information that you receive? Have you changed habits at all as a result of the large amount of influenza that's present in our culture right now?
Yes.
I have.
Do you eat better? Do you sleep more? Do you de-stress more?
More orange juice.
Drink more orange juice? Katie, what do you want to say, honey?
I do think that people are more aware of the sanitizers on campus, the ones that are like in hallways. I do
Good,
see
good.
people using those, especially like the ones that are near bathrooms. So I do see that, and I don't think people shake hands as much, and I think that's like I've just noticed.
Okay,
So,
okay. So no matter what, for the most part, students are aware of the issues, clearly. I guess what I really want to make a point of is what you did last year is not going to work for you, what you did this year. I'm really interested in knowing whether or not you think about, ways to completely allow yourself a period of time a day where you let yourself relax more, or you let yourself linger longer over a meal, or you do some activity with a friend that really helps you balance, your health. So I'm not asking you any more questions other than that, but please do think carefully about what you might have done last year as opposed to what you did. Your, 60-hour work weeks coupled with your, God only knows how many hours of homework on top of your, whatever. It's just, you've got to cut yourself some slack, and even if it's taking 1
Thanks, Colleen. Announcements, please. Representative Lupton.
Yeah, just something real cool. So a couple days ago, me and former Representative Vic went through all the ballots for the Pizza Olympics. And I was in a rush today, so I don't have the official numbers of how many ballots we have and all the fun numbers, but I'll bring that next week. Real short. We did it different this year. We did 35% of the students vote and 65% blind. And the students vote, fourth place went to Bon Appetit, third place went to Donato's, second place went to Dewey's, first place went to Pizza Bobo. That was the 35%.
Okay.
Okay? So then the 65%, the blind team. So, fourth place went to Pizza Bogo.
Yes.
Third place went to Donato's. Second place went to Dewey's. And first place, Jolly Scholar.
Oh, no. No, sir.
First place, and the blind pizza team.
No, sir.
Kid you not. Okay, so when we put them all together, it was a close race between Dewey's and Pizza Bogo, but Pizza Bogo just took the number one.
Oh.
I'll bring the fun numbers next.
All right. Are you going to talk about pizza?
Yeah, but
I'm President Bender.
I have some serious problems with that. I always complain. Computerized voting. Okay, anyways. So Representative Pulaski 2 weeks ago put the spotlight on me when I was celebrating something. So I think it's time to put the spotlight on her. It is her birthday today. So why don't we join in a quick song of happy birthday? Speaker Douglas, you want to lead us?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Representative Pulaski. Happy birthday to you. Birthday representative.
Thank you for the lovely song, and for those of you who are of age and would like to join me in the Jolly Scholar after the Arts and Sciences Caucus meeting, I would love to see you.
Representative Bagat.
November 19th to the 21st is the performances by the Mather Dance Collective, also known as Madcall. Please attend. Charities in it.
Any other announcements? Representative Ateshelu?
If you're in a student group and want to participate in Mr. Crew, you should sign up. The deadline has been extended until Saturday. I think we should have a USG representative.
President Pinder.
I didn't raise my hand.
Representative Mr. Allen, tell us about
Just
Eco.
two real quick things. First off, next semester there is going to be awesome new stages. USNA 252, Future of Food. Last third of it is actually going to be dedicated to specifically designing a program for using part of the university farm to grow food for the university. Pretty sticking awesome. And secondly, like I mentioned earlier, the Eco Party is this Saturday. It is at 9 p.m. It is at the Delbert Gymnasium, and there are lots of free prizes and food and rapid fight. There are iPod shuffles, surge protectors, aluminum bottles, and Brita pitchers, and lunch blankets. The Mockapelle is performing. They're really good if you've never seen them. They're a lot of fun, interactive, green-related games, and soccer, which isn't green, but it's cool. Be there. It's fun. Delbert 9.
Vice President Wang.
Two quick things on study abroad. The president from the University of Tianjin will be here at CASE on Thursday, so I encourage all to be there if you're interested in studying abroad in China, especially the engineering caucus. And also, I will be holding a live, this is also under the governmental stage, at the very beginning of next semester, there will be open forum on study abroad. We'll have a panel of students who have studied abroad that have done various programs, so feel free to ask questions
announcements. Representative Hammond?
Second.
Adjourned.
Good job, guys.
I don't have to clap for that.
Exact 5 minutes.
Oh. I need to see the caucus speakers for 30 seconds. Eirik, Asaf, Zhang, Ateshalu, Downey. Because I am incapable of sending an email.
Got me. It's the first time I've worn it outside of a wrestling event in 7 years. Thought I'd lighten the mood tonight.
Definitely rocking.
Fatty.
I always forget my name tag.
I'm coming.
Yeah, I'm running this meeting.
Yeah. When works this summer? And we're gonna set the time right now. So I don't think
Are you for real? I should have changed. They just started advertising like months like jeans.
Our election is like 11 o'clock to like 11 o'clock. So I didn't set it in the beginning. I didn't realize I was going to be doing it. So we will meet. I know it's crushing me. But we will also have a new speaker.
Are you going to the library?
Sorry, guys. No, because it's not that kind of like minutes-based meeting. It's more of a discussion meeting.
As a like,
I don't really like making an ass out of myself, but I did it because I thought we wanted to do it. And then nothing. We haven't, and nobody even wants to bring it up.
We've got one person. Let's leave it open until Thursday. Think about it. Yeah, think about it. 'Cause people change
That's
their
not
mind.
part of the
And then also something Thursday afternoon, something like that.
Why are you not saying
I'll send an email tonight.
Because you're asking me to say this.
So
Oh, is that like not good? Oh, Laura has to send my DC.
No, we just don't. Well, I mean,
Because I've already sent out emails with all the contact people that I can push, but I need one person that's not as strong as me. And
You can already schedule.
yeah.
No, no.
Grab my placard?
Because we already know mine. I grabbed it.
Oh, dude, thank you.
You grab mine too.
I forgot about it.
So before I do other like 6 hours, cool. I want to see. Probably was like right there. Yeah. Bring it up.
I appreciate that.
If nobody else wants to do it, like,
Huh? I'd love to. Oh, to STPS. To STPS. Talking about STPS?
Did you look at it
Actually,
too hard? I
if you
told you
sit in
about that, Keith.
For like 15 minutes, but then I'm driving over there. If that's any incentive.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of my thing.
All right, where are you? Where's the meeting?
Just let me know. I said, yeah, I said tomorrow. Tomorrow at, what did I say? I did say 5. Let's do 6. Yeah, let's do 6. Qdoba? Good. See ya. All right. Divya back. I know she had to go to the bathroom.
Glad you got it all done. Yeah, me too.
Oh. You don't have to stop talking.
I see,
I heard on average there's a wall conversations every 7 minutes.
Really?
Where'd that come from? History. I don't know. It's been for a while.
Like, there's a standard policy.
No, I just saw it. I was like,
You know what I mean?
who wrote a program on the committee? Not anybody last year.
It means that the new PRDP is going to subsidize.
You just put the, yeah, and then it generates a web.
Okay.
I
So
think that's spreadsheet
this is like the printer in the office like spaz.
Did you try to use the actual printer? Did you try to use the
Actual printer.
No.
Look
You saved it as a docx.
Okay.
It doesn't print if you use docx. You have to save it as a dot.
No, I printed it today.
before.
It doesn't work for me.
By the way, you can now print to the copier.
You can print the copier.
You can print to the
Yeah,
copier.
that's the default.
Yes, I
No, does
printed
it like?
Yes, it works.
Yeah, it works.
Okay, okay.
Just say
Yeah, you gotta put in
6422.
6422.
Okay. Works as of today. I tried it.
It'll pop up like when you print, it'll like these little docs.
This is gonna be really short, so prepare yourselves for like 15 minutes.
Brace yourself.
What's new?
Man, I was prepared for an hour. This is.
No, I'd rather not. Thanks.
Hello.
We're about to. Yeah.
How's it? Oh, it's for me. Hi. Hello?
Celebrity.
Yes.
Shangbo has women calling my phone for him.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing.
Ladies got calling too. Notice it was Colleen.
All right.
That you might, that the meeting
What do
might
you
be
mean?
canceled tomorrow.
I don't see this is the thing. I don't.
Sorry.
It doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
I love your spirit.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, me too. I do.
What is it? It's Ethan Shayla.
Okay.
Shayla? He's in our grade. Okay.
Wait,
I
what?
couldn't even
He's
hear
a
it.
character.
Wait, someone made that? Like, our grade?
No.
I
I'm talking about the nominations. No, this is definitely not me.
No way, something that someone made.
All right. So first, great GA. I really like that. It was short, sweet,
Very
and but we had great open forum. Well, I mean, it was good. It was good student concerns. Legislation passed. I mean, it was good. I was very pleased. So yeah. I don't know if you guys had anything else. No. So we were supposed to talk about Student Sustainability Council last week, but Trevor couldn't make it because he got locked out of Adelbert. I'm sorry.
Just the time change, they didn't adjust the clock.
Okay, but I'll kind of give some background and then you can kind of go into more detail. But Sprint has approached USG's Student Sustainability Council with an offer.
Sprint, the phone
Sprint, the phone company. They have this new green phone, and it's made from like, and help me out with the terminology, but all like recyclable material.
It's I mean, like any intro industry, it's moderately